Previously, we talked a little bit about what we're experiencing this year on the rivers, which is low water flow, because we don't have any snow melt up north, and we haven't had very significant rainfall. Walleyes for Tomorrow has been, for the past 30 years, attempting to mitigate some of the problems on the spawning marshes that were created by us, human beings. People built roads across the spawning marshes. And, the system has been all right. It's gotten along well because we have had significant snowfalls in the past. We don't have very significant snowfalls like we did in the 70s. Back in the mid-70s, I can remember 4 feet of snow on the flats. And we don't have those kinds of snows anymore. So there was not that much of a need because we had enough water coming down the river at Shawano. I'm more familiar with Shawano than upstream from that, to more than offset some of the bad things that people had done. We landowners built roads across the spawning marshes, and we put in a small culvert because we didn't want to puddle water behind the road forever, so that a small culvert was put in so they would eventually bleed down. That way you get new emergent vegetation grow every year. If you kept it puddled all the time, it'd be kind of a bunch of stagnant water. Wouldn't be the best habitat in the world for anything. But Walleyes for Tomorrow, what we've done, say you've got a little 15 or 16-inch culvert, we'll take it out with the landowner's permission, and we will install 3 36-inch culverts. That's kind of been our typical remediation effort. There, Craig's Marsh up on the Wolf above New London. We did that with 3 culverts, and lo and behold, it wasn't enough. So we went in and put 6 culverts in. And the reason for doing this is so that when the water is high enough and the walleyes choose to spawn upstream from this road, when the spawn hatches in 20 to 25 days, however long it takes for them to hatch, and they start getting washed out of the river, out of the marsh, they don't have to go through a small 15-inch culvert. I mean, we're talking acres and acres and acres of surface water here. And to have it flow through one little culvert isn't going to happen very well. So what we do is we put what we have in, and it's worked well. I mean, I tell everybody, it's a 4-year endeavor. You're not going to see the first males come back up that were spawned in that marsh for maybe 3 years. 4 years, they'll probably all be nice sexually mature males. And it takes even longer for the females, up to 6 years for the females that were first spawned on that marsh to come back to that marsh. And what is now known fairly well is that walleyes do have a fidelity to the areas where they were spawned. It may not be the marsh, but it's very possible or probable that they will be back in that portion of the river where they were spawned. So by breaching all these dams, and every one of these little roads is a dam with a tube in it, I say it's a straw in it, to cause water to eventually drain all the water off. Now we make it a more free-flowing system, and you build a cumulative effort, and over time you get more and more and more fish return as you get significant year classes. And we like to say we can take credit for most of what we have right now. We have a superb population of adult walleyes right now in Lake Winnebago. They may not be the size everybody wants because people key in on bigger walleyes. But at Winnebago, if we have 10 adults per acre, Winnebago is 138,000 acres. You're talking 1,300,000 adult walleyes swimming in the lake, and that's just the lake. That doesn't include Poygan and Winneconne and the rivers and Butamore. There is a significant number of fish, and when you have that number of fish, make the supposition half of them are females, and make the supposition half of them will spawn every year, you still have, a very, very large number of females that will run up the rivers and spawn. And everybody knows the marshes are the lifeblood. So we will take all the credit in the world for having done all these projects. The Eureka Dam was a big one. Gordy Priegel back in the 70s dyed fry. He was a research biologist at Oshkosh. He dyed fry of various species, not only walleyes, and put them in the river, Fox River, above the Eureka Dam, and never once found a live dyed fry in the water below the Eureka Dam. They all got um, ground up in the boil below that dam. And we, Walleyes for Tomorrow, that was our first project. Cost us $154,000. We hauled, I can't tell you, millions of pounds of rock to fill in that boil hole. These are the kinds of things that have a cumulative effort, but these are the kinds of things that work. And that's what we're all about, projects that work. And we can be proud of it. We think we've done a good job. And all you have to do is go fish and see how many fish are in the lake. Ron Brook always said, though, the worst way to judge the population of fish in a lake is at the end of a fishing rod.